Good morning. So it's 1:45 in the morning. Yeah, it was an easy one apart from at the end. It's changed the boxes. Changed from bags to boxes, should I say. So it's like 250 loaves of bread. You used to put 10 in a bag, so obviously it's 25 bags. Literally 25 bags. They changed them into boxes where you can only fit 8. So do the maths on that. Anyway, I wanted to touch base about specifically us dads, when the family's away at the moment, having fun down at the in-law. Good as she is, she looks after them. So that means that I've got a free house. So on a younger day, obviously, I'd be on the phone to the lads. Who fancies coming over? Play a game of FIFA, pot or shot. You're doing something else crazy, or we'll just go out and get legless. Used to drive there after my matches on Saturdays, especially if they were away games. I'd take United stuff out with me. After the game, get showered, get changed, drive straight to the venue. Anyway, it's not me anymore. I like my alone time. I actually prefer it if I'm not around people in general. My dad's like that, he likes his own time, so it must be in the genes. But then he complains of getting lonely, and funny enough, I've become accustomed with myself. That's what it is. I've spent so many years in the van on my own, cracking out jobs. I remember I had a van once and the radio didn't work, and because I was just too busy grafting and making that paper, I just drove around without a radio, just in silence. And I'd often get the trip where I'd be going Manchester, Liverpool, even somewhere like Peterborough. You notice it when there's no radio. You notice the time. You notice like how much time you are spending on either yourself or on other things. And I've always, I wouldn't say always, but after a little while I found out how to make the work be a part of my life, so I don't feel as though I'm working and not living, doing both in the van. Sometimes I'd get, say, a student who'd be moving to Manchester Uni, so he'd be in the van with me, and here that was funny. When the radio weren't working, you had no other option but to talk to each other, otherwise you just sat for like 5 hours in silence. It's really eerie when you're sitting next to someone in total silence, but you're doing the job for them. So because I am the type of character I am, I get to know why this is happening. I'm moving someone because they're moving to university, which was this case, or if they're a divorcee, I often hear about that story, which actually some of them are funnier than what you'd think. I do think divorce is very sad. It never should really happen, but every now and again there's a gem out there to find. And then you start actually getting a reading of the person, their life, and the way they think and feel the way they do. And then on the way home you get to think about what everything spoke about. And you analyse it against your life and how much different you probably had it or didn't have it, or things you found very similar. Sometimes you even lived quite parallel lives. I had the same experiences and stuff growing up. So these experiences I've just kept with myself, and even to this day I can still remember certain jobs, certain conversations, and it just enables you to analyse your life in a context of what is worthwhile and what is not. So I just see a torch go up the MI5 building here. Oh, look at this type. Don't like Mercedes much, do you, mate? So I've become accustomed to the fact of not having much. Even having a radio to me was a little bit of a luxury that I learned to deal with that after a certain amount of time. I drove myself crazy though for a long amount of time. Always deep in your thoughts, which is sometimes the worst place you can be. But when you're not used to occupying yourself mentally without a distraction, i.e. the radio, you end up tormenting yourself. This is why the Buddhist monks are extremely good at that mental control, because they're always with their self. They don't let the moment or the item own them. You can't phase them. That's why in these type of cultures mental health issues aren't really a thing, because they know how to control their mental states. And I learned how to do that after a good amount of time. And in my mental state, finding clarity was difficult. Sometimes even forgiving yourself for things that you forgot happened like 15, 20, 30 years ago. And for some reason that memory pops back up just because of something you may have seen on passing. I mean, you've seen something on passing. I remember that happened when I was 9. Oh, I remember that day as well. That's literally how it works. And then do you remember when I was 10? Rah, 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 rah. And Sadhguru, he's a good one as well. He says that's about living in the past. You shouldn't live in the past, and nor should you live in the future. So you don't worry about things that you've heard may happen. You prepare for, but you don't worry about. Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen anyway. So you worrying about it is going to do nothing. Same as the past. It's happened. So you worrying about it or beating yourself up about it, it's going to make no difference. It's not going to change nothing. You're just going to end up making yourself sick mentally and then physically. So you might be asking, well, this is a bit off tangent from the fact that you're home alone because the family's away, and the fact is it's not, because dads that are not used to spending time on their own, like my dad but likes his own time, find themselves getting up to things that they know they shouldn't really be getting up to. You know, we're dads, we know what we're talking about. It's nothing seedy, insinuated. It's just we're men, so men get up to what men do, the same way little boys got up to what little boys got up to when they were younger. Depending on the type of boy you was, if you was a mischievous one, why would you change when you're an adult? You're just going to be a mischievous adult. Some men won't be able to stay at home, they'll go out, find their mates, even at the ripe old age of 35, 38, 42. And then the wheels can come off. Some men just sit at home and drink theirself into bed or the sofa. Just stay on the sofa. I enjoy staying on the sofa, so there's nothing wrong with it. I've seen my mum fall asleep on the sofa for years watching Question Time and things like that. So me falling asleep on the sofa, after working a night shift watching Sky Sports News, yeah, fall asleep on the sofa, don't really matter. But it's how you are when you're going to sleep, what you do when you're at home. So we bought the boy, it's like a parachute, but it holds you as a swing. And it's really good for autistic children with SEND needs, those on the autistic spectrum. And you can see why, it's like a hammock, you know, you can tell that would be a relaxing place. You just want to go and just relax in your hammock. There's no difference, it's just how someone's manufactured it into is like this upside down parachute that you swing around in. And it uses its weight distribution via a pull-up bar. And I have got a pull-up bar. I have had one since I was about 21. So I always like to keep myself fit. So now I've been hitting the pull-ups, whereas before I was always doing press-ups. And I was doing like crunches and mountain climbers. Doing a home calisthenic workout that works both the muscle and your cardiovascular system. One of them ones. And now I get to do my counter body weight now with my pull-up bar, thanks to the boy and his upside down parachute. And I'll do that when I get home. I'm not really one for reading, so once I've done what I've got to do on my workout, I sit down, watch a bit of YouTube, see what the financial sector's saying. And when I say financial sector, I'm not talking about listening to your MPs that really and truly have never really worked in that industry or in that field. They're not qualified, they're solely underqualified to hold that role, but they do so anyway. I'm talking about the ones that are actually in these big businesses, ones that tell you what's happening, to the global banks, to the regional banks, to the world banks, to crypto, whether you think of it or not, it is an asset group. It is now. No different than buying a house. To be fair, it's probably a safer bet than buying a house now. The way the laws in this country are going, home ownership is very risky. Whether you're residential, commercial, or a buy-to-let landlord. And again, learn this from the experts. And finish off with probably having a bit of cereal before I get arrested. And I'm more than happy to do that on a day where my family aren't there. I'll do it when my family is there, to be fair, because I work nights, they're all still in bed by the time I'm home. And they're all in school when I'm asleep. So it's a bit of a good one, because the only time I really get when I'm awake with the kids is when they're awake. Be awake first thing in the morning, just before they go off to school. And while they're at school, crack on with some sleep. Wake up in time just to pick them up and then see them before they go to bed. And that's my routine. And I'm actually quite happy with it. Obviously, I'm not content with it. I'm building something that's going to make my family financially free. So it doesn't matter whether I'm working or whether I'm not. We can always do what we need to do. The kids can always have whatever it is they need. And build them up an asset class. So by the time they're of adulthood, that in theory they don't actually have to work, they want to work, of course they can work with me, or they can get their own line of income, as long as it makes sense. Like they're saying, if you don't make money, it don't make sense. And in essence, just have a happier life with Ria, who really and truly deserves the nicest of lives, and I owe it to her, as she's the best mum that I've ever come across, most doting, most caring, and she's a wonderful person at that, who cares for others really more than she cares for herself, and really should do. She should take far much more, I wouldn't say care, it's not the right word, but she should definitely have herself as number one, because she is number one. She shouldn't be worried about others, definitely not as much. And that's my focus when I get home, or when I've got any free time. That's my focus. I'm not interested in drinking or out partying, calling up a couple of mates to come over. Don't get me wrong, every now and again I would like to have a poker night, for example. Would be nice. Poker nights I find are a little bit different when you have your mates over, because the conversation's different, and even if you're having a beer or a whiskey or something, you're not sitting there caning it, especially when there's money on the table. You don't want to be too drunk making the wrong call. Which is good ethos to have through life, really. Don't want to be too inebriated to make the wrong call. So, leave that one here for us dads. Be the type of dad that your child knows that they're strong in every area. You know, physically you're strong, mentally you're strong, financially you're strong, spiritually you're strong. You're the only person they can turn to? Absolutely. Can't really turn to anyone else. But you're the only person that they should turn to? Debatable. But if you're strong in all those areas, why would they want to go anywhere else? So keep strong. Keep fighting, dads. You're worth it. Just watching the old Bildo, they're nicking someone. Tower Bridge, there's always something.